no, don't put no nukes, okay? Damn it, they were right, okay? So now, wait, I get confused. Is this Fukushima or is this Washington?
Yeah, that's Washington.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. This one made the news because it's far away. This one didn't make the news because it's close. Can you see the disinformation here?
When did that one happen?
Oh, it's current. Okay.
Current?
So we're talking 52,000 tons. Okay, in Chernobyl, we're talking a few thousand. In Fukushima, we're talking tens of thousands. This one here, we're not quite sure. 500,000 tons of depleted uranium. This is more than we could possibly deal with. Now, in all the nuclear facilities around, the structures that house the nuclear reaction is unbelievably strong. You can't break it. You can't break it from the outside. They're built to withstand a 747 to crash into it. They're super thick, super strong. Sounds good, right? Okay, now we have a thermonuclear reaction going inside of these reactors. And that's like a bomb going off real slow. And it's designed to generate steam. Now, in order to generate steam and keep the thermonuclear reaction calmed down, we have to put water in there. Now, this is the biggest homer you could imagine. So in Fukushima, what they did is they put backup generators underground so they'd be nice and safe. So if the power ever got shut off, we'd have the backup generators there to start keeping the water flowing and everything. Nobody thought they'd get wet.
Really?
I know. It's just like, damn, bummer, okay? So the reactors are hardened. The cooling systems that keep the reactors safe are not hardened. Okay, so if you want to be a terrorist and blow up a couple of them, go after the cooling system. There's no way to stop it. Everything will blow up, kind of like Fukushima. So I want you to be aware of the methods of this stuff, how toxic this stuff is, and how dangerous it is, and how Fukushima, thank God for it, because it makes people aware that there's facilities like this that we can't do. Okay, so now, we've got stuff. 77,000 tons of spent radioactive rods. Now, we're just talking the rods. We're not talking the 91 million gallons of caustic stuff up in Washington. These are rods all around the country. Now, currently, the best and the brightest scientists on the planet say we should bury it. Okay? Now, this is not only phenomenally radioactive and hot and decays rapidly, but they pick a volcano to dig a hole in. Okay, now, we want a geologically stable thing that doesn't move, right?
I assume it's extinct.
Okay. Who is the guy that's we're going to build our secret lair? Dr. Evil. Okay, good. Yeah, okay. I'm not kidding. This is so beyond stupid. So again, we're going to be lied to about this ridiculous stuff. The Department of Energy said, don't worry, it's safe. It's going to be stable for at least 10,000 years. Oh, okay, an earthquake, 5.0 earthquake. It did $2 million to the visitor center. Well, luckily, that'll be the only one in 10,000 years, according to the Department of Energy. These guys make the FDA look smart. Okay, then a second quake strikes 12 miles away. They don't know how the fissures, they don't know how long it's going to last. Some of the studies say that it'll take 1,000 years for this to reach the groundwater, which is okay because we might be technically more advanced in 1,000 years. It doesn't look like it. Okay, it's like saying, yeah, we'll be able to stop the sun and spin the world around the other way in 1,000 years. No, this is probably, we've got to understand this is dangerous stuff. We can't have this. We got to fess up that we made a mistake and realize that, we can wipe out the planet. Okay, who would like to rocket it out to the sun? Yeah, that's planetary decimation if it blows up in the atmosphere. So we can't do that either. So what we have to do, plutonium isotopes, they're alive for 22,000 years. Now I don't know. Okay, you want to be technical? Okay, so 44,000 years. The pyramids are 5,000 years old. 10,000 years ago, we didn't have a written language. Okay, and we're talking it just doesn't make sense. So this, obviously some smarter people are saying don't do it. Now, we can't store it in here. This is actually the Hanford facility. I know those look secure. Okay, but those are the tanks that are leaking in there.
Leaking?
Yeah, only 1 million gallons so far, but that's what we know about. Okay, because remember, you cannot trust the information you're getting. Okay, when they closed the Rancho Seco nuclear plant, they found out that within 2 years of closing it, that leukemia rates in children dropped 40%. Was that on Channel 7 News? Hey, wow, cancer rates fell after we closed this plant. Maybe we should check around each nuclear facility to see if cancer rates are higher around there so that we can maybe start shutting these plants down and saving people. Were we thinking about that? No, and this is the tough part, because when you start looking at this, 161 million people live within 75 miles of a nuclear facility. I mean, last count, there are about 300 million Americans. So this means half of our population is at risk living close to these places that are toxic. Okay, so now, okay, that's the bad news. Take a deep breath in, blow it out. You're exposed right now. Don't worry about Fukushima. You're getting exposed no matter what. Okay? So let's look at this. Let's look at cell growth. We know you're getting exposed to ionizing radiation. Everything has to do with cell growth. Everything has to do with cell repair. There's not much we can do about the radiation exposure. If you've ever seen movies about us traveling to the moon, okay, and the astronauts were being exposed by gamma rays. It was passing right through the ship, right through their bodies, everything. They said when they closed their eyes, they could still see lights. Yeah, they're being exposed to gamma radiation. Everything boils down to tissue repair and tissue destruction. Your body goes through destroying 1 billion cells a day, and it goes through building 1 billion cells a day. This is if you're healthy. It's if you're exposed to radiation, or you're exposed to, you know, just a natural, normal environment. So everything, your health right now, just like it was before you were aware that you were exposed to radiation, is still dependent on the same system. If your body breaks down faster than you're building it, you're going to die, and you're going to get disease. That's why they call it dis-ease. It's dis-ease. It's an abnormality. It's a way away from ease. Okay? So what we need to do is concentrate on how to rebuild it up. So every system in your body. So that means everything in your life right now is dependent on how you build your cells. Does that make sense? If your cells break down because you can't stop the radiation, now we talk about building. Then you see this guy. Okay, so now he's working for Mitsubishi Corporation in World War II. He gets, I think he was around 800 feet from the epicenter of Hiroshima. Okay? Now, he had burns all down the back of his head, and his head was bandaged for about 10 years, okay? All down his back. And so he goes to recover in Nagasaki.
Oh, no.
Okay? There's 165 people that had double exposure. Now, this would be bad, yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay? I mean, we're talking about exposure that's going to maybe shorten our lives and maybe increase our risk of cancers if we're not aware of the steps that we can take to protect ourselves. He protected himself. He just died recently at 93.
Wow.
He happened to die of stomach cancer, but I mean, if you're getting double exposed from a nuclear weapon, that's pretty good. So let's find out what he did. Huh?
Without it, the guy would have been 200 years old?
Without it, he would have made it to 200. We're supposed to go at 150. Exactly. Okay. The poor guy, he died too young. Okay, so health is optimal cell function. Now, if we lived on Venus, okay, very toxic, acidic environment, we would have to adapt to that environment, right? Yes or yes? We're living in a planet that's extremely toxic now. Okay, so we have to understand health, how we survive, is dependent on optimal cell function. So that means disease is lack of optimal cell function. Okay? So now we're aware that we have certain parameters that we have to live in. Now this, when we talk about how ridiculous medical care is, I mean, forget people lying about the radiation. If you're chemically slowing down your pump, I'm sorry, talking about the heart. You're chemically slowing down your heart Does that help oxygen to tissue or slow oxygen to tissue?
Slow.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm using one-syllable words, okay, because this is absolutely ridiculous. This is unscientific to slow people's pumps down. Now, when you look at this, is having everybody the same blood pressure the same in France, in Germany, in England, in America, and India? No. Only in this country did we think 120/80 is normal. In India, they say if your blood pressure falls below 140, it's dangerous because you're compromising oxygen. In Europe, they don't do anything unless your blood pressure's higher than 180. So the advice that you're given to take a beta blocker or an ACE inhibitor is not only unscientific, okay, it's stupid. Remember, health, optimal cell function. Disease, lack of optimal cell function. Slowing down oxygen to your body, does that give you health or slow your metabolism down to give you disease? Disease. So we know we're living in a toxic environment. We need healthy oxygen to tissue. And so we need to stop this. Even, I mean, this is the Journal of the American Medical Association and the Center for Disease Control. They say if you take one of these drugs, you're going to die an early death from heart disease, cancer, or diabetes. Are those popular diseases now in our toxic environment? Yeah, everybody gets one. Let's say that this was approved by the Fraud and Deception Association for human consumption. I'm sorry. It was approved by the food, what's the FDA stand for? Oh, Food and Drug Administration. I'm got to tell you, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission makes the FDA look really smart. Okay, this stuff, it's devoid of nutrients. It's calorie rich, which means that you have a tremendous amount of energy in there. So everybody stores it, but it's nutrient deficient. Okay, so you can't rebuild yourself. So you cannot build healthy cells with this. So if you understand you're in a toxic environment and you need healthy cells, you cannot have this material. Potentially inappropriate medications for the elderly. I know that's fine print, but what you'd see on here is antacids, beta blockers, muscle relaxants, anti-inflammatories, antidepressants, sleeping medications. Every class of drug is not appropriate for an elderly, and antibiotics in there. So now if it's not appropriate for an elderly, all medications slow or stop a metabolic process. That means every medication slows or stops a metabolic process. Every one. Every one. Now sometimes that can save your life. Like let's say you're allergic to bee stings and you're having a histamine response, you want to slow that process down. Let's say you're being exposed to radiation where you're getting a huge amount of cells that are being destroyed right now. You don't want to stop that process, okay? Okay? So this means all medications need to be rethought. At the end, sir. At the end, sir. I know, I'm excited too. Okay, so now the only reason is because you're not being recorded. Okay, so taking iodine. Now remember, the radioactive isotopes, iodine, potassium iodine. Now this is a very, very powerful substance if you work at radiation clinics, okay? Or let's say you're being exposed to it, because it only works like the first 24 hours. And it can build up to extremely toxic levels. But if you want to look at this, there's certain foods that already have it in there at a safe dosage. Okay? Kelp, fantastic. Ramen's got multiple areas of kelp, seaweed over there that you can get. Yogurt, raw cow's milk, eggs, strawberries, mozzarella cheese. I mean, these are all just naturally occurring. You're not going to find it at the standard American diet. This thing, fantastic. Spirulina. Okay, these are all things that were used at Chernobyl. Spirulina, chlorella. They actually, remember, everything that you take that increases cell production or detoxes your system helps you survive in our toxic environment. Anything you take that slows the metabolic system down will kill you early. Okay, does that make sense? So if you're old school thinking and you're thinking that, well, my cholesterol levels are too high, I should take this cholesterol lowering drug. When cholesterol is a precursor to stress hormones, it's used for tissue repair, it's vital for brain function. Do you think that our entire population